about drawing wiser boundaries, especially in this season of life. Between 65 and 80, your body, your heart, and your mind all need different kinds of rest, connection, and safety than they did decades ago. But most seniors keep showing up in the wrong places, out of habit, guilt, or the simple hope that things will feel the same. And sometimes those places aren't dangerous in the obvious way. They just chip away at you slowly, emotionally, mentally, physically, until you start feeling heavier, lonelier, or more tired than you can explain. You might already be feeling it. You go to a certain spot, and afterward your legs ache, your chest feels tight, or your mood crashes. You wonder if you're just getting old. But it's not just aging. Sometimes it's about the where, not the when. The truth is, there are places that drain us without warning. Places that slowly take away our peace, health, and self-respect. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 6 specific places that you need to stop visiting as you get older, not because you've lost value, but because you've gained wisdom. Each one of these comes from real experience, and knowing them could spare you heartache, exhaustion, and deep regret later on. And before we start, have you ever stopped going somewhere, even if others said you should keep going? What made you walk away? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's begin. Place 1, the hospital, when you don't really need to be there. One of the first places many seniors need to stop visiting unnecessarily is the hospital. Now I want to be very clear. This doesn't mean ignoring real medical needs. If your chest hurts, your vision suddenly blurs, or you feel dizzy, get checked. But what I'm talking about is going to the hospital out of habit, fear, or loneliness. And yes, that happens more than people admit. Many people between 65 and 80 were raised with the belief that the hospital is where you go if something feels off, even just slightly off. But what used to be a sensible check-in can turn into something more harmful with age. Hospitals are stressful. They're full of unfamiliar sounds, people rushing, bad lighting, long waits, and often a lot of emotional weight. And over time, just being in that environment can wear down your nervous system and drain your sense of peace. I once knew a man named Henry, 78 years old. Good man, lived alone after his wife passed. He didn't have much social life anymore, so when he'd feel a bit tired or feel a small ache, he'd go to the hospital, sometimes once a week. What happened? Over time, the doctors stopped taking his symptoms seriously. They'd rush him through, run expensive tests, just in case, and send him home with prescriptions that interacted badly with each other. One day, he was hospitalized not for illness, but for complications from those medications. And there's something else too. Your body begins to associate those places with sickness, fear, or helplessness. Even when you're physically okay, mentally, you start seeing yourself as weak, dependent, or fragile just by being in that environment too often. And when that identity settles in your mind, your body follows. The deeper issue here is psychological. It's about the need for reassurance. As we age, we become more aware of our limits. A strange feeling in your chest doesn't feel like just indigestion anymore. It feels like a possible heart attack. And so the hospital becomes not just a place for healing, but a way to calm anxiety. But that short-term comfort comes at a long-term cost. There are better ways to check in on your health. Regular visits to a trusted primary care doctor, home health checks, mindful observation of your body's normal rhythms. And sometimes, just talking with someone, a friend, a counselor, or even your pharmacist can give you the grounding you need. You are not your fears, and you are not your age. You deserve calm, clarity, and the confidence to know when you do need help and when you don't. Place 2, the crowded supermarket on weekend afternoons. Let's talk about a place that seems harmless, familiar even, but is quietly becoming one of the worst places to be after 65. The crowded supermarket, especially on Saturday or Sunday afternoons. It might not sound dangerous, but stick with me here. Here's the issue at this age. Your physical balance isn't what it used to be. Your eyes may take longer to adjust to movement and color shifts. Your joints get stiffer. Crowded environments that used to be a minor inconvenience suddenly turn into obstacle courses. People rushing past with carts, kids running around, tall shelves. You have to reach over or crouch beneath, all while fluorescent lights hum overhead and announcements echo off the walls. It's not just tiring, it's overstimulating. I remember Judy, 74, who used to love grocery shopping. She said it made her feel independent and productive. But after a few close calls, once with a heavy cart, hitting her heel, and another time slipping on a damp spot in the produce aisle, she finally admitted it wasn't worth the risk. One bad fall could mean months of recovery or worse, the loss of her mobility for good. And it's not just the physical danger, it's the stress, long checkout lines, heavy bags, confusing layouts that change just when you've gotten used to them. By the time many seniors get back home, they're not energized, they're exhausted. That simple grocery run can knock you out for the entire day, especially when you're dealing with high blood pressure, arthritis, or just plain fatigue. Now let's talk about another hidden cost, your immune system. Crowded stores are prime spots for picking up colds, flus, or worse. One sneeze near the produce section, one cough from the person behind you in line, and your body, already slower to bounce back, has a new battle to fight. And it's not just germs. Loud noises, crowded aisles, visual clutter. It all adds up to cognitive overload. The more often you subject your brain to that kind of chaos, the faster your mental clarity and memory take a hit. There's also something psychological that many people overlook. Grocery stores were once places that made you feel capable. You had a list, you found your items, you managed your budget. It felt like control. But now, when you're trying to read tiny labels, lift heavy items, and navigate a sea of shoppers who don't seem to notice you, you start to feel invisible. Like the world isn't built for you anymore. And that quiet erosion of confidence adds up. But here's the good news. There are smart alternatives. Many seniors are now switching to weekday morning shopping. The stores are quieter. Staff are less rushed. You can take your time, ask for help, and move without pressure. Some even use online grocery services. Not because they can't do it themselves, but because they choose not to waste their precious energy on chaos. That energy could go into a walk with a friend, a hobby, a call to someone you love. You've earned the right to choose peace. You've earned the right to design your life around comfort, safety, and joy, not just routine. So if you've been pushing yourself through noisy, crowded stores just to prove you're still capable, take this as a sign your worth has never depended on how many bags you carry or how fast you finish the grocery run. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Place 3, the stair-filled public park or trail. Let's look at another place that seems wholesome on the surface. Even peaceful, that old public park or scenic trail filled with stairs, steep inclines, and uneven paths. For years, it might have been your go-to spot for walking, meeting friends, or just getting some air. But after 65, especially nearing 80, these places come with hidden costs that too few talk about until it's too late. The thing is, older legs don't forgive like they used to. Going downstairs places far more stress on the knees than going up. And going up, that can spike your blood pressure and strain your heart faster than you think, especially in warm weather. Many of these parks were built long before accessibility was a concern. That means cracked pathways, hidden dips in the ground, tree roots you don't notice until your foot twists sideways. And what makes it more dangerous? Overconfidence. You might think, I've walked this trail for years, but bodies change, reflexes slow, and your margin for error gets narrower. That same peaceful route becomes a trap of false familiarity. One senior, Alan 78, insisted he was fine. Took his usual weekend hike up his favorite hill trail. Halfway up, his foot caught on an uneven step. He went down hard. 2 fractured ribs, a bruised hip, and he hasn't been able to walk without a cane since. But it's not just the physical danger, it's the isolation. What if you fall where no one can see you? What if your phone slips out of your pocket on the way down? What if you go off your usual path just a little, and suddenly the landmarks don't look familiar anymore? Cognitive sharpness can fluctuate in this season of life, and a 10-minute walk can quickly become a 40-minute misdirection. Plus, these environments often push you to do just a little more. You walk farther than you should. You chase a hill for pride. You don't stop when your body whispers enough. That push, that desire to stay youthful, can lead to injury that sets you back not just physically, but emotionally. The guilt, the frustration, the sense of being less than can linger for months. There's also the quiet toll on your joints. Every step on uneven ground inflames your ankles, hips, and back. If you're already dealing with arthritis or a past surgery, those impacts don't just fade overnight. They linger. And what starts as soreness today becomes stiffness tomorrow and avoidance the next day. You might find yourself doing less over time because of one bad day on the trail you loved. Now, does that mean you should stop going outside? Absolutely not. Nature is still one of the best medicines. But it does mean choosing better paths, literally and figuratively. Look for level walking tracks, indoor community spaces, or gardens with railings and benches. It's not about avoiding activity. It's about adapting activity to your reality, not your memory. There's wisdom in adjustment. There's courage in saying, this used to serve me, but now I choose something better for who I am today. Parks and trails will always be there, but your body, your joints, your independence, that's worth protecting with everything you got. Place 4, the high-energy family gathering. Sometimes the most emotionally draining place isn't far from home. It's right in the living room of your own family. High-energy family gatherings might sound harmless, even joyful. But if you're between 65 and 80, these events can take a quiet toll, not just on your body, but your spirit too. And no one talks about it because it's family, right? The noise, the activity, the children running, the overlapping conversations, what used to feel like life and warmth can now feel like chaos and pressure. You might find yourself nodding along, smiling through the noise, trying to keep up with rapid-fire stories or jokes you don't quite hear or understand. And afterward, you feel exhausted, almost disoriented, like your body's there, but your mind never caught up. Now here's the hard part. Many seniors push themselves to keep showing up at every gathering out of guilt. They tell themselves, this might be my last Thanksgiving, I should go. Or worse, if I don't, they'll think I'm ungrateful or selfish. But that quiet self-sacrifice can build resentment, and over time, it chips away at your peace. There's also the deeper layer, feeling invisible. At these gatherings, conversations can shift to topics you're left out of. Technology, careers, fast-paced jokes. You might feel like a guest in your own family's life. Like you're physically present, but emotionally sidelined. That feeling, that loneliness in a crowded room, is one of the most painful experiences aging adults quietly endure. Let's not forget the physical side. Just preparing for these gatherings, the cooking, the driving, the dressing up, the late hours, can drain you for days. Your legs swell, your lower back aches, your sleep gets thrown off. And when it's over, you're often left recovering in silence while everyone else moves on like nothing happened. And then comes the judgment you place on yourself. You might think, why can't I handle this anymore? Or I'm becoming a burden. But here's the truth, your body isn't failing you. It's just changing, asking for gentler rhythms, calmer environments, and smaller circles of genuine connection instead of noisy rooms, full of people trying to impress each other. If you find yourself coming home from these events more tired than nourished, more tense than joyful, it's okay to say, not this time. You don't owe anyone constant presence. What you owe yourself is honesty. Maybe it means smaller visits, one-on-one lunches, or just a phone call instead. That doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love yourself more wisely. And if they truly care about you, they'll understand. Or at the very least, they'll learn to. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Place 5, the late night grocery store. There's something comforting about walking into a grocery store at night. It's quieter, less crowded, and the fluorescent lights feel oddly peaceful. But for folks between 65 and 80, this late night habit could quietly be putting your safety, energy, and even independence at risk. Let's start with the obvious, visibility. As we age, our vision naturally weakens in low light. Driving at night becomes more challenging, and walking through dim parking lots or shadowy aisles can increase the risk of falls. A simple trip for milk can end in a bruised hip or worse. And those accidents, they often lead to longer hospital stays, rehab, and a chain of health events that feel like they come out of nowhere. But beyond the physical, there's a psychological cost too. Nighttime shopping often happens when you're already fatigued. After a full day of activities, errands, or even just a bit of social interaction, your body and brain start to wind down. And yet, many older adults push through and go shopping late to avoid crowds or not be a bother during the daytime. That selfless thinking often backfires. Your focus drops, decisions get harder, and you end up either buying things you don't need or forgetting what you came for. There's also something quietly unsettling about being alone in a large store at night. The quiet isn't always comforting, it can be eerie. And while stores are mostly safe, Crimes like parking lot theft or scams tend to happen more often during low traffic hours. Seniors can be seen as easy targets, and the last thing you need in retirement is a shaken sense of safety in everyday spaces. Financially, it doesn't help either. Tired minds tend to be impulsive. Seniors often report buying unnecessary snacks, overpriced prepackaged meals, or items they already had at home, all because they were too tired to think clearly or too rushed to check their pantry. Over time, those late-night impulse purchases chip away at a fixed retirement budget, slowly but surely. So what's the alternative? Reclaim your mornings. Shopping earlier in the day when your body's refreshed, your mind is clearer, and staff is more available, makes everything easier. You'll make better choices, get more help, and feel safer. And emotionally, you'll be in a better place to enjoy it. Maybe even turn grocery day into a social outing with a friend or neighbor. A 72-year-old woman I know named Jean used to shop every Wednesday night after dinner. She said it was her quiet time. But after a small fall in the parking lot, her doctor convinced her to switch to mornings. She told me, "I feel like I've taken back my time. It's not just safer. It's lighter. It feels like the day belongs to me again." The little routines you build after 65 matter. And sometimes the safest thing you can do is listen to your energy, not the clock. Place 6, the doctor's office without a reason. Now this one may surprise you. You've probably spent decades building a respectful, reliable relationship with your primary care doctor, and that's a good thing. But after 65, especially between 70 and 80, many people fall into a quiet trap, visiting the doctor too often without a clear reason. It usually starts innocently. A small ache here, a slight discomfort there, or just a nagging thought that something might be wrong. So you go in just to check, but soon enough you find yourself making regular visits every few weeks. Not because something urgent is happening, but because you're anxious about what might happen. The problem here isn't seeking help when needed. It's that excessive medical visits can gradually shift your mindset from active aging to passive waiting. When you see the doctor too often, especially without specific symptoms, you start to frame your life around illness instead of health. You begin looking for something to be wrong. And here's the twist. When you look hard enough, you'll often find it. Modern medicine is remarkable, but it also comes with risks over testing, false positives, unnecessary medications, and the psychological burden of thinking you're sicker than you actually are. One test leads to another. One concern triggers a dozen appointments. Suddenly, your calendar is full of hospital visits and your mind is full of worry. And for many older adults, this habit is fueled by loneliness or boredom. It's no secret, some seniors begin using doctor visits as a way to talk to someone, to be heard, or to break up the week. And while seeking connection is natural and valid, the medical office isn't the right place to find emotional nourishment. There's also the risk of being labeled as a frequent flyer by healthcare staff, meaning you might not be taken as seriously when something is actually wrong. That erosion of credibility can be dangerous when real symptoms appear. Instead, reframe your health focus. Learn the difference between routine checkups and unnecessary ones. Keep a health journal, note your symptoms, track your sleep, your eating, your activity, and bring that once or twice a year to a scheduled physical. That way, your doctor gets a full, long-view picture of your health instead of fragmented visits based on fleeting fears. And if it's conversation and care you need, look toward community. Join a senior center, call an old friend, volunteer, or even see a counselor who specializes in older adults. Your emotional well-being deserves support, but not at the cost of your physical health or mental peace. I once met an 81-year-old man named Harold who used to go to the clinic nearly every other week. After his daughter noticed he was getting more stressed, not less, she gently asked why. "I just want to make sure I don't miss anything," he said. But when they looked back together at all his tests, every single one came back normal. What he truly needed wasn't another checkup. He needed assurance, company, and trust in his body again. So if you're someone who keeps visiting the doctor without a clear concern, ask yourself, what am I really looking for? If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. After retirement, life can feel like a careful balancing act between giving and keeping, between love and limits. And when it comes to what we pass on to our children, it's not just about money or stuff. It's about boundaries, about preserving your peace, your time, and your hard-earned wisdom. Many parents, out of deep love and habit, keep giving long after their children have become adults. But here's the truth: giving too much, too often, and too blindly can sometimes take more than it gives. So which of these 6 places or habits spoke to you the most? Are there any you hadn't even considered before? Maybe you found yourself giving rides, lending money, or biting your tongue just to avoid conflict. Or maybe you've realized that your calendar is full, but your energy is running dry. That quiet resentment you've been feeling? It's not ungratefulness, it's your inner wisdom telling you it's time to protect your own space. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's a gift to yourself and to your children. It models strength, it teaches them respect, and it allows you to enjoy your golden years with dignity, clarity, and joy. You've earned that. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.